if you play an instrument, there is that connection with the instrument. And then there is also what happens when we're connected with an instrument, what it allows into the world in terms of connection and communication, and on a level that includes words or that doesn't include words. So anyway, I was thinking about what I teach in the 5-day Harp Improv Challenge, and it is truly the foundation, the seed, the kernel, the essence of a form that can carry experience. And let me explain this. So when I started playing the harp, I was playing background music. And I was playing to make a living so that I could be the composer that I've always wanted to be. And then the harp kind of took off. And it took off because of improv. But I learned a lot playing in situations where I was playing background music. And what I learned was that people love melodies. There are melodies that change their lives. And what I was thinking about today, what I realized today, is that the form that I teach in the 5-day Harp Improv Challenge is like this. It's like a package that you can carry a melody in, a melody that someone would love, and then also play around, make believe, play with it, because music is all about playing, but playing for others also often has to do with this connection, with creating this experience. But let me show you what I mean. So the form that I teach, and this is also a form that I teach in Hip Harp Academy. And it's a form that I use all the time. It's a form that every jazz player uses. It's a form that Beethoven used, Mozart used. It just gets used all over the place in music. And I call it the 5-part arrangement form, because there's 5 parts to it. And because I've been in so many different styles of music, I started seeing, wait a second, there's that form. It's called the Sonato Allegro form here. And over here, it's called the, jazz form, or, whatever. It's called these different things, but it's the same. And it starts with some kind of induction, meaning there's some kind of transition between when there's not music and when there is music. And that can be someone saying 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a transition. That sets up a rhythm. It can be something like this. Whoa, put that up. It can be something like this. It can be. It could be that. It's a transition between no music and music. So that's the first part of it. Then there's a melody. Then there's improvisation, then the melody again, and then there's a transition out of the music. So in some ways it's very simple, but the thing that was really hitting me today was that having that melody connects the people who are listening, if there's a melody that they love, and I'll tell you a story about that in a second. But the very cool thing about this particular form is that you don't have to know the whole melody. Now, I love to teach harpists repertoires, not like just learn this one piece and get really good at this one piece, but how to have a complete repertoire so that you can play a wedding, or you can play background music, you can make money, you can inspire people, you can, you can ease people's pain, so that you have a whole toolkit or a whole, menu or whatever it is. It's a whole repertoire of things. And if every single one of those is complicated, that's a lot of complicatedness. So one of the things that I love to teach in the academy is how to take this structure and create repertoires out of it. And you can do that by taking just part of a melody, playing it, and then improvising, not even over that melody, but on something I'll show you in a second. And when you do the 5-day Harp Improv Challenge, you literally learn how to do this in 5 days. You literally learn how to put this structure together. You learn how to have this thing to improvise on. You learn how to apply it to a melody. You learn this whole thing, but I'll just show you. Let's say let's say I want to play Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but I don't know the whole thing, but maybe I know the first part. Maybe that's all I know. Then I can play that, and that's going to, for someone who loves that tune, they will hear that tune. Then if I don't know the rest, it doesn't mean I can't play it. I can improvise. Now I'm using a progression. Something that I don't have to remember specifically. This is not a specific melody. This is, in fact, exactly the improvisation pattern that you learn in the 5-day challenge. I'm going to play it again. And after I've improvised, I come back. Then I can put a little ending on if I want. And then if I know a little bit of jazz, I can add something a little special. But it's all part of this form. And this form is basically introduction, then I can play a melody. I have something easy to improvise on, and I've learned how to improvise on it. You literally learn like 5 different ways to improvise. I think I maybe it's just 3 in the Harp Improv Challenge, and then an ending. That you play the melody and you play the ending. And so if you're someone who's like, no, this must be correct harp music, and I cannot play part of that tune and not the whole thing. Well, I mean, that's kind of how I was when I was first playing the harp. I was like, no, I'm going to be a real harpist, and I'm going to play the difficult things, and I'm going to play them difficultly. So it was really all about me. But let me tell you a story. There was a tune that I got sick of playing. It was called Laura's Theme from Dr. Zhivago. And, when I was playing background music, there was a time when you couldn't play without being asked that over and over and over again. And one day I was playing background music, and this guy came up to me and he said, "Oh, would you play Laura's Theme from Dr. Zhivago?" And I was like, yes, okay. So I finished whatever tune I was playing, and I started playing this tune that I didn't like playing. And as I started playing it, not only did this guy not seem to notice at all, but he gets up, he walks out of the room, and I'm like, I'm playing this tune I don't even want to play. You're not even listening. Like, why did I even do this? He comes back in, doesn't even acknowledge me, whatever, sits down, has dinner, and I'm just thinking like, why? And then finally it's time for him to leave. He gets up and he walks over to me and he says, "Thank you so much for playing that song. That was my wife's favorite song. And this was the anniversary of her death. And I'm sorry I had to walk out of the room, but it was just so moving to me that I just couldn't stay, but it meant so much to me." So I could have been thinking, well, I don't want to play the song that I don't want to play. Or I could have been thinking, I don't know how to play the version of it that, whatever in the movie or whatever. I could have been thinking a whole bunch of things. But what I learned that day is that there are melodies and there are songs, for whatever reason, they're so meaningful to people's lives. And having a way to play them, having a structure that I can use to give someone the gift of a melody that they love, and then having this gift be able to be fun for me too, because I can improvise with it and I can have some free time with it and I can come back to this melody. This is I just was like blown away today, because I was thinking, this is not just like, a tool. It's not just a skill. It's not just an improv form. This is like magic. It's an incredible, I don't even have the word for it, because it creates an experience and you don't have to be an amazing technical genius in order to do it. So let me show you another example. And this is actually the example that I teach in the 5-day Harp Improv Challenge. And by the way, if you haven't signed up for this, just go to hipharp.com. That's hip as in cool, harp as in the instrument. You can sign up there. I also put it in the link. This is kind of going, this is streaming to a bunch of different places. But here's another example. So here's another introduction, just introduction. And now I'm just going to play like really simple Ode to Joy. That's it. That's all I'm going to play. Then I can improvise on a chord progression. A very easy one. It happens to be exactly the one that I improvised on before. Happens to be the one you'll learn in the 5-day challenge. And then at the end, I could add a little ending. I could put it up an octave. The form is the same. It's like, sometimes I think it's like cooking anything. Well, you have to I turn on the pan and I cut some stuff up and I put it in, and it can be anything. But the structure, knowing that I turn on the pan, knowing that I cut this stuff up, knowing that I put it in, that structure allows me to then start trading things out. Oh, well, what if I did eggplant? Well, what if I did, I don't know, fish, whatever. And I talk about this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And one of the reasons that I talk about it is because it is a model that is so satisfying, and it's a model that is so rich, that allows anyone, and especially anyone with a harp, to just like create and create and create and create, and take one melody in and cook that melody up, and then put that melody out, and then take another thing in, and these chord progressions are like the rice that go with it, and you just cook it and you put it out, and it's not, and then you're feeding people. You're feeding people with the music. And so I just feel like it's this magical thing. And I mean, from there, once you learn the structure, you can get a job with a harp, you can play for people, you can play background music, you can play for hospice, you can play for weddings, you can play for, your friends, you can play concerts, whatever. You can play because you know how to cook up music. And it all starts with this very simple form that lets you do that. It lets you deliver music. So, so if you haven't signed up for the challenge, sign up for the challenge. It's 5 days, it's free, and you learn this structure. And why is that important? And why do I care that you learn the structure? I came in this world to tell stories with music, to hear stories with music, and to, be part of self-expression. And so I love to do it, and it's such a freeing thing. I just love to share it with people because so I struggle doing a lot of things in the world because they're just too complicated. They're too complex. If I could find something for many other parts of my life that was as simple, satisfying, infinitely creative, unlimitedly creative as this form and as improvisation in general, I would be so happy. This is this magical thing that I have found, and this is what I want to share. Now, you can go on and on and on because I just played kind of rubato in the way that like a harp would. Oh, it's a harp. Right. Okay. So anyway, but that's where I started. And then it took me into completely other realms where I'm taking that same form and I can do all kinds of other things with it. I mean, that's an introduction. It's just a more expanded, expansive introduction. So having done this for 30, 40 years, the structure itself allows for all these other techniques. So this is an introduction. Still an introduction. Still an introduction. And then a melody. And then I might even repeat that. And then I can go into improvisation based upon a chord progression. And then I can add whatever I want, and I can bring the melody back. I can then go on and improvise. I may not be able to talk and improvise at the same time. I'm using the same idea in that I am playing chords that I don't have to think about. So it's based on the same idea as what I was doing before. It's just more experienced. I've been doing it a long time, but I'm still using the same tools. in my looper here, and I'll do that in my next concert. But here I will just come back and... repeat that. Again. So I used the same form. It may sound very different. I added all kinds of other techniques, but the form is there at the heart of this, and it supports all these different things. When I say introduction, it can mean so many different things, but it's there, and you get to start with something simple. Why is that important? Because an introduction is an induction. It is a transition between what isn't music and what is music, and it brings the audience with you. Why is that important? Because you're playing for them, meaning you're doing what they would do if they did have their hands on the harp, or if they could, or if they knew how to do that. Why is that important? Because we're taking them, you are taking them, lifting them from the burden of consciousness for a moment and dropping them lightly back and slightly changed. You take them to a different realm. And why is that important? Because we need that. We need to know there is a realm outside of the everyday of this, and that. We need to experience what happens in the transformation from I'm just talking, and now that talking has turned into music. And then you begin to realize that even someone speaking is also a kind of music. So when you play, if you can really get comfortable with what you're doing, then there's a mastery and there's a mystery. And what I mean is that when you can get comfortable with anything, then you can share it in a way that changes people's experience. And that's why I wrote Create the Experience. You can do this without having all the bells and whistles. And I mean, it starts in such a tiny way with that transformation, that transition, that transducing, that into music. And then you play a melody, as even if it's just a simple melody, like even a simple melody is something that people can connect with. And you can learn to start when you have a place to begin, and when that place is a safe place that you can go back to, it lets you take chances, and it lets you do it again and again and again. And every time you do it, it opens up that world again. And you can get lost. You can get completely lost and find your way back. Find your way back through the introduction again. You can sit on it as long as you want. And when you're fully ready, when you've found it again, you can play it. Whether it's a simple melody or it's a more complicated melody, the point is that when you have this structure is the foundation of creative freedom. Internal structure, not imposed structure from the outside. So one of the things that's really beautiful about this particular 5-part arrangement structure that you learn you first learn it in the 5-day improv challenge. And then in Hip Harp Academy, we take the whole quarter to expand it and learn it and build a repertoire on it. And a repertoire where you don't need music, so that when you have the opportunity to play, you can just sit down and play. And you can play for as long as you want, because you are not playing something that already was created. You are playing something that you are exploring and discovering as you play it. And I don't know if you realize that both times that I was playing the same basic progression. I call it the power progression because it's at the heart of a lot of tunes, and especially a lot of jazz tunes. And it is the progression that you learn in the 5-day Harp Improv Challenge. I love this challenge because I feel like it gives you like all the basic ingredients of freedom that then you can go on and explore. The really cool thing about being able to improvise on a chord progression is you literally learn numbers. You literally learn 4 numbers, 2, 5, 1, 6. That's it. 2, 5, 1, 6. You don't have to say it fast, but 2, 5, 1, 6 allows you to I could go on and on. I can even change the styles. And I can modulate. It's amazing. You can take exactly the same progression and you can modulate. I'm just playing the same thing. And when I say the same thing, I mean the same idea. Modulating to another key, blah, 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 blah. The thing is that there is a seed. I mean, I don't know, like I have this garden and I love this garden that I have. But, if I were to look at the garden at the beginning of the season, it's just a pack of seeds. It's just a bunch of seeds and they don't look that interesting. They're just tiny little seeds. And by the end of the season, it's this amazing garden. And then it's bouquets. And then it's my neighbors come over and they cut flowers and I go to their garden. And that's what this challenge is. And that's what I put together here because I want you to have that. Because then you're playing with freedom and then you're connecting, and because it's something that I have. And when we have a gift, it is so incredibly satisfying to be able to give that gift. And the amazing thing about this gift of this structure that you learn in this challenge is that when I give that gift to you, the level of giving that you have just is exponential, like the seeds. It's just this little thing and this little in our hand. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about Jack and the Beanstalk, like there's just these 3, whatever they are, the seeds. It's not just that it becomes this beanstalk, it becomes an adventure. And that's what also happens when you learn how to improvise, when you have a structure, when you have the seeds that you get to use. That's what I was thinking about today when I was out for my run. Why this challenge is so important to me, why I created it, why I get so excited when you take this idea and start running with it, and I get to see it bloom. I get to see you bloom. And then that blooms in everything else. So now I'm getting self-conscious. So join me. Why am I getting self-conscious? Because because I love this. I love how simple it is, and I love what happens when people learn it. So just join me, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. And you don't even have to play the harp. I think the first time I did this, somebody joined on the bassoon. It was amazing. People have joined on the flute. You could join on the ukulele. Yes, you have to kind of, shift things. This is what I've learned my whole life. I couldn't go to harp classes. I would go to classes for something else, and I'd learn how to then apply it to the harp. Of course, I can show you directly how to do it on the harp. So I will stop talking now. It's time for me to stop talking. Just go sign up. We'll spend the week together. It's free. Go to hipharp.com. That's hip as in cool, harp as in the instrument. Sign up. Join me. When you sign up now, you actually get into this amazing class. I love it. It's called Creating Conducive Conditions. It actually helps you set up your space so that you can be even more present for the challenge. And secret, for anyone who is going to be celebrating Rosh Hashanah, I had a special request to open up the challenge a day early, 24 hours early, so that just the first day, so that the people who are celebrating Rosh Hashanah can get in tomorrow morning early before the challenge even starts, and go through it and share their day one challenge, what they're sharing on day one before sunset. So sign up now. I'll be going and I'll be sending you an email really soon, and then like within the hour, and then I'm going to open it up before I go to bed tonight. So that's that. You know what? I didn't check. I didn't see if there were any questions. I always forget. Oh, hello. There's a bunch of people here. Hello from Brazil. Hello from Canada. Oh, Harold. Thank you. The music from Talking Hands. Oh, I'm trying to remember what was on that album. Oh my God. The Phoenix was the Phoenix on that album? I don't know if you're still here, but and by the way, I'm also doing a show, my first full-length show since the pandemic. And the Phoenix, no, wait a second. I think I need to look at it. I don't know if the Phoenix was one of the pieces that was on Talking Hands. I can't remember. But that was a really fun. Oh my God, I know that. I wish I could play it. That was called It's About Time. That was a really fun album. So let's see. Talking Hands. Okay. Oh, yes. Freddie, thank you. You said beautiful melodies. Melinda, thank you for signing up. I'm so glad. Freddie says, beautiful melodies. That's the thing. It's like a boat for melodies. It's like this, how a ring becomes the setting for a beautiful stone. This structure becomes the setting for any melody. To be able to share that, to be able to give that, to be able to give it as a gift. You can give a diamond to somebody as a gift, but when you put it in a ring, it's a completely different gift. You can play a melody, maybe, but if you put it into this form, it becomes even more of a gift. So thank you. Kathleen says, looking forward to the challenge. Beautiful. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, Connie, I think I was playing an E flat, and then I shifted back. E flat is a very, very, very rich key on the harp. And then I was also shifting back and forth between C and F. And, modulating, that's a whole other thing. That's something that we're going to be doing more of in the academy this fall. The challenge stays safely in the key of C. I like to stay safely in the key of C when I'm learning things, and then I like to go further afield. So thank you for all your wonderful comments. I'm so happy that I saw them. I was off on my little tangents. No, I was being passionate. I'm done putting myself down. All right. Well, I will see all of you, I hope, in the 5-day challenge. Again, hipharp.com. Hip is in cool, harp is in the challenge. And now, my friends, go forth and harp on the good things in life. And I hope I will see all of you in the next week in this challenge. Farewell. See you soon.